Hi, my name is Ben Rosset and I'm the designer of Brew Crafters by Dice Hate Me Games. Brew Crafters is a big game with a lot of components, and I'm going to show you what I think is the best way to punch the game and to bag it up so that it's as easy to set up the game as possible at the beginning of a new game and to break it down and put it away when you're done. And so Brew Crafters comes with about 30 baggies in the box, and I'll show you the way that I've organized the game together. The first thing that you're going to do is punch out all of the tableaus that the game comes with, and these are punch board, and these are the research labs, and these are the personal breweries, and the market and season action boards. And so all of these that are the same size will get punched out, and you can put those to the side just for a second. And then I think it's important to save space and make it as easy as possible to get the game set up at the beginning is to make player bags for each of the 5 player colors. And so there are 5 different players in the game, 5 different player colors, and I'll show you what I've put in each of the player bags. First of all, a full set of building and equipment tiles. And so there are 8 different types of buildings and equipment. There are 5 sets of these in the game, you'll see when you punch them out. So I suggest making full sets of each one of them, including then, I guess the 9th type would be these hops infusers right here. And so 3 hops infusers for each player, so let's give a full set of those to each player. The market action meeples, there are 2 wooden meeples in each player color. And then there are 3 brewery shift tokens in each player color, so you'll put those in the player's bag. You'll give player 4 wooden cubes in their player color. These are for their research tracks, for their research labs, so those will go in the player bag. And then I also recommend giving each player $6, so here's a 5 and a 1, and then also 2 malt ingredients and 1 hops ingredient, because each player is going to start the game with $6, 2 malt, and 1 hops. Depending where they are in player order, they may start with another dollar or another ingredient, but every player will have $6, 2 malt, and 1 hops. So why not put those right in the bag at game setup? And then finally is the reference card. There's one for each of the 5 players, and this tells what all the buildings and equipment do. So each player is going to need one of these, so let's put that in the player bag as well. So I think that all of this, a full set of everything that I just showed you, is what one player needs to kind of get going right away when the game is being set up. So you put that all in one player bag, make 5 sets, one for each player, and that will use 5 of the bags that the game comes with. So, moving on, these are the rest of the cards that come in the game, and I've used 2 bags for them. One for all of the recipes, the 24 different recipe cards that the game comes with goes in one bag, and then the 24 skilled workers and 4 local partnership cards go in one bag, so 28 cards in this bag. And then also I've put the market helper token. There's one little token that punches out in the punch board, and that goes with the market helper skilled worker. So if you're using that during the game, you'll need the market helper token. So all of the skilled workers and local partnerships go in a bag together. Next, I've put all of the ingredient cubes into one large bag. So there's going to be about 120 ingredient cubes, give or take, after you separate out the 2 malt and 1 hops per player. I think 115 will be left. So I've put them all together here in one bag. Now you could separate them by type. There are 6 different types of ingredients in Brew Crafters, but honestly it's not that hard to dump these all out on the table at the beginning of the game and then quickly separate them by color. It only takes a minute, and this way you'll save a bunch of baggies when you're putting the game away. So just to use one bag for all of the ingredients instead of 6 individual bags for the 6 different types of ingredients, and you'll need those bags for the beer batch tokens, which I'll show you in a second. So again, I recommend just putting all of the ingredient cubes in one bag together. Next, I've got all the rest of the money chits together in one bag. The $5 and $1 money chits, they go together. And then the reputation tokens, the 1 and 5 value reputation tokens, will punch out and they go in one bag. Now I've got combined into one bag, I've got the loans and also the resource counters. So these are the loan tokens that players take if they don't have enough money to pay their operating costs, and there are 15 of those. Those will go together, and then the 2x and 4x counters for extra resources if you run out of ingredients or tokens or anything else, and those can all go together, the counters and the loans in one bag together. Next I've got all of the optional action components in one bag, and these are not going to be needed for first time play for games with new players, but for games with experienced players you might want to add in some of these optional actions to give the game a little bit different gameplay each time. And so there are 5 of these optional action tokens, action spaces, not really tokens, but they punch. So those will go together in the bag, and then the 5 pink wooden meeples, those are interns, and they're used with the higher interns optional action space. So put those in the bag with the optional action spaces. And then also there are 3 community farm tokens that punch out, and those will go in the bag also. That's all of that is for the optional action spaces that's not needed for first time play. So I put all those in one bag together. Next is I've got the Stout Glass first player marker. I've got the season token, which goes on the season board and tracks the current season of the game. And then I've got all of the collaboration tokens, 4 different collaboration tokens. Collaboration is something that's only used in games of 3 or more players, but you'll need it, 3, 4, or 5 player games. So I put that together with the season token and with the Stout Glass first player marker, and that goes in one bag together. And then finally we are down to the actual beer batch tokens, and there are about 215 beer batch tokens, individual beer batch tokens that come with Brew Crafters, and that's because we've got 24 recipes, and each recipe has its own tokens. And so you're not going to need them all for every game. So I suggest separating them all into individual bags, and that's why we combine certain things together over here, like I just showed you, to save as many bags as possible for the individual beer batch tokens. One way to save a couple bags with the beer batch tokens is to put the the basic recipe tokens together, and those are Pleasantly Porter and Everyday Ale and Simply Stout. And the reason that you can put the 3 of these together in one bag is that these are the basic recipes that are used in every single game of Brew Crafters, so you're always going to need them. So why not just put the 3 of these together in a single baggie and save a couple of bags? You can tell which recipes are the basic recipes for 2 reasons. One, they have a gray outline around them. I don't know if you can see in this video, but there's a gray outline instead of white around the art for the individual recipe. And then on the back it says 2 reputation. Basic recipes are the only recipes in the game that have a reputation value of 2. So all of those, Everyday Ale, Pleasantly Porter, and Simply Stout, you can punch those out and put them in a single baggie together. And then we have all of the advanced recipe beer batch tokens, and so there should be 21 different recipes. And so I suggest punching all of these, sorting them by recipe, and then using a separate bag for each one, because you're going to need 6 of these for each game that you play. And so when you choose your recipes at the beginning of the game, it'd be nice to have all of these in separate bags, all the beer batch tokens for each recipe in separate bags, so it's easy just to grab the 6 that you've chosen to use for this game, and the rest of them can then go back into the box. And that'll make setup a lot easier than having to look through 215 of these to pick out the ones you need for your game. One thing to note is that in each one of these bags for each one of these beer batch tokens, I've also included the gold label for that advanced recipe. And so there are 21 gold labels tokens that come in the game, 1 for each of the 21 advanced recipes. There are no gold labels for the basic recipes. So this recipe is the black and brew porter, and so you can put all of the tokens for that recipe together in a bag and put the gold label for that recipe along with the recipe tokens in the same bag, so that the gold label is with the recipe beer batch tokens, and you don't have to search for it at the end of the game. So, or the beginning of the game, excuse me. So here's the box bottom, and to kind of put all of this together, it's going to be a full box, but I'm just taking all of the tableaus, putting them in one side of the box, and then taking all the baggies here and fitting those in. Shouldn't have a problem getting all the bags into the game. And finally, the rule book. Put that right on the top. And then we will close up the box. So there you have it, how to punch and box Brew Crafters by Dice Hate Me Games. Have fun and enjoy the game.